I'm Brian Cooley from CNET on Cars, taking one of your emails about high-tech cars and modern driving. And this one comes in from James E., who says, would you say buying a more expensive variant of a car, like a Ford Focus RS versus a Ford Focus ST, makes sense on the grounds that the RS would hold its value better or even appreciate? And he also asks, is there an accurate way to gauge how a car will fare in the used car market down the road? Okay, well, interesting few questions there you've got, James. Now, the Focus RS that you give as an example, let's start specifically. That's a car that Ford didn't sell in the U.S. until just the last year or so. So it was either a self-imported, federalized, gray market, what have you vehicle, extremely rare, unicornian in that way. Those kind of cars have and maintain value readily because they're performance models that are hard to get, and they're known among those who know them. Now, Ford brings the RS to the U.S. So you could say that sort of knocks some of the value out of the market. Now there's a commodity market for them, but those cars are never going to be commodity. They're very pricey for a Focus. You got to know about them to appreciate them. And if you do, they trade in a small circle of buffs who really know and value the car. So you're always in good shape with something that rarefied and that performance rarefied. In general, when it comes to assessing future value, there are a lot of good tools. A lot of them are available to you online, similar to the ones the pros use down at the car dealership to value cars, either when they come in for trade-in or when they're writing a lease to try and get some idea what the future residual is going to be, and they do a cap reduction that's often tied back to that. That's over on the pro car dealer side. Here are 4 things for you to think about as the average person selling a car down the road. Number 1 is condition and mileage. This trumps everything. A car that's in good shape, has been well maintained, has records of that maintenance, and ideally has been driven at or below the standard mileage of 15,000 per year, hopefully quite a bit below, is a cream puff. That's a car someone who's got any brains in their head is going to pay more for, even if it's a fairly common car. Another point to keep in mind is the model rare, like the Focus RS you talk about? And even if it's not that rare, does it have equipment or a configuration or even a color that was very rare? You find the right person who wants that, boom, you're going to get top dollar, maybe even above market. There's a butt for every seat, as they say. Now, the other point is sell it to a targeted market. If you take your car and trade it in at the dealership, that is not a high value move. That's a convenience move. If you want to get top dollar for your car, you sell it out private party, Craigslist or eBay, what have you. If you've got a car that warrants it, you go even further and you sell it into a group of aficionados who know that car. Either you go to a forum and a marketplace for that mark and model, or you go to a place like Bring a Trailer, where it's all about people who just know interesting cars and aren't looking at mass commodity vehicles. You got to sell it smart to get the right money out of it. The 4th point I'll share with you is pixie dust. This one is almost impossible to predict. The best example lately is early model 911s. Gone through the roof. You couldn't have predicted that before they did it. Aston Martin DB5s and 6s had a similar spike that kind of came out of nowhere. There are some $1 million, $1.5 million Ferraris on the road, vintage cars, that were kind of just tired old race cars 30 years ago that you couldn't get a lot of money for. Certain cars spike, but they do tend to start being quality performance cars to begin with, or maybe high-end luxury cars.